Hi, I'm the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is your 2020 overview for Pisces Sun, Pisces Rising, and Pisces Moon. So Pisces, what is it that you need to leave in the past? This would be an attitude or a situation that it's now time to let go of. So you have the King of Cups, the High Priestess, and desire. Now for some of you, the King of Cups represents you, or it could be another water sign person. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, or just the traits of this king. And this is a king who operates in the emotional realm. He could be creative, he could work in a psychological endeavor. In the ideal, he's someone that would give good advice, that would counsel you, who is supportive of you, and who is operating in your best interest. So, for some of you, what you need to leave in the past is some type of decision that may be connected to this person. This could be a father figure or a counselor to you of some sort. So you may have issues centering on father-daughter, or your friendship with an important male figure, or advice that you've been given. And for some of you, there's issues surrounding temptation, being tempted towards someone or something. So, it could be decisions about fantasies that you're having. It could be some unexpected encounters that center around desire. And those could be problematic. You may be trying to make a decision about whether you want to be involved or not, whether you want to be platonic, whether you want to be celibate. So there are some important issues. Whatever it is, you are looking at a situation and re-evaluating it, whether it is a promise, a goal, an objective, an opportunity, and you're examining whether any opportunities that present will have some strings attached. Is there something that you need to pay attention to in the fine print? The High Priestess says that something is going on behind the scenes, something you may not be aware of, or there could be some kind of secret something going on that hasn't been revealed yet. Or you may be getting advice from someone who is in the know, the inside loop. Negatively, you could be looking at situations through some type of prejudice or biased outlook, some preconceived idea or notion. Maybe you're overly analytical and shutting off your emotions or your intuition. Something may be telling you something, and you're not listening to that. So the High Priestess says you have to be careful that you're not bending the rules of a situation for your gain, to suit your purpose. You distort something so that you come out ahead. By the same token, it means also not being manipulated or manipulating others. The King of Cups has such control sometimes over his emotions that he can take that influence and wield it in negative ways for personal gain. So you may be dealing with issues of emotional manipulation, sexual manipulation. Either that's coming at you, or perhaps you're participating in that. The King of Cups is also someone who can get carried away with indulgence. So he can be escapist. He could be getting lost in drugs or alcohol or sex or any other vice. So there are some decisions to be made that center around support. Whether you're alone, you may have needed to make a decision about should you be alone, should you have a sexual relationship, should you get more intimately involved. You may be feeling that you've been alone for too long and it's now time for you to connect with someone on a more intimate level. Now, what is it that you need to let go of in the future? This would be a mindset, a resentment, an ideal, or another situation that you need to let go of to achieve your desired outcome. You have the Empress, the Nine of Pentacles, and Manifest. So again, we have this issue of passion versus safety, trying to produce something. So the Empress says, You have something that you want to create. There could be some issues related to your creativity, your beauty, your health, your well-being, and whether you're applying yourself in ways that will manifest practically. It could be that you have a desire to be alone or you're happy alone. So again, we have this decision about whether you want to stand on your own 2 feet or operate solo, or whether you want to connect with others on a more intimate level. Your communication is also going to be important in order to manifest. Now, for some of you, this is about being self-sufficient. The Empress in her negative can be an energy that focuses on attracting rather than applying. So she may become apathetic. There could be issues centering around expectation, the expectation to be taken care of, or whether you want to be self-sufficient. So for some of you, there are issues that may connect to being a mistress, being cared for. For others of you, this is about spending too much time alone, being satisfied, too self-sufficient, too self-contained, too determined to be independent. It just depends on which end of the spectrum you're on, because the Empress speaks of extremes, one way or the other when it's negative. Doing too much of something or doing too little. So you could be spending too much money, spending too much time on something, putting too much effort in, loving too much, or not doing any of those things, not applying yourself at all. So the Empress requires that you strike a balance. This is your willingness to help. Now, for some of you, communication could be an issue because perhaps there's been some accusations. It could be about your role as a mother. It could be your relationship to your mother, your maternal instincts. So you could hear some gossip. Maybe it's about you, maybe it's unkind, maybe it's unfair, and you have the inclination to strike back. This is going to be a time where you need to let go of that. You need to put that aside. And what you really need to do is look at who you're connecting to. What are you attracted to? What's bringing you pleasure? Where are you indulging too much? What are you doing that could bring some problems to yourself, some heartache, some trouble, some danger? And whatever you're applying your energy to, is it worth it? Is it more trouble than it's worth? And are you doing it because you're motivated by some kind of emotional disappointment or loss? For some of you, there's a connection to perhaps property issues, real estate. So, you may be caught up in a false sense of security. You may need to protect yourself in some way against loss financially or, to your reputation. But this is your thinking or resentment you have concerning that. Or again, maybe something that you've idealized. There's something that you have placed on a pedestal. The Nine of Pentacles speaks of someone of culture, intelligence, grace, somebody that carries the entire package. So there could be some idealization that is a problem somewhere in your life. Or again, some kind of extravagance or excess, or the desire to either be taken care of or to just totally be independent and self-sufficient. Now, what is it that you need to take from the past? This would be a past mindset or a quality that is working for you and that you should continue to leverage into the future. You have the Wheel of Fortune and Hermit guidance. So for some of you, using your intuition to gain insight, that may mean making some changes to how much time you spend alone. You have to decide whether it's more appropriate for you to spend more time alone and get in touch with yourself, or whether you've been alone too much. So there's some changes taking place, and it's likely that you set these changes in motion by something you've done or said. And the wheels of fate are turning. Whatever you're in, it feels fated. Maybe it's happening rather quickly. So you could be making some changes. Your intuition, your spirit guides are cueing you in to gain some enlightenment. Perhaps you are enlightening others. This may tie to money. It may tie to future. It may tie to travel. Some information is coming to light. And for some of you, it may tie to age or experience or education or wisdom or spirituality. So This is a time for you to observe others. Some positive changes may come about by not so much talking, but listening, observing, taking something in, seeing something in practical, logical terms, seeing the truth of situations, acknowledging the reality of who people are and who you are as well. So you may be dealing with stress, crisis, but you have some spiritual protection right now. Whatever you're going through, you may be keeping others at arm's length. You may be biding your time until some changes take place. But whatever it is, you're seeking to have emotional, physical, and mental well-being. And as long as you can remain objective, you have the ability to use your logic, your intuition to make decisions that are best for you. And so you have a couple of cards here of intuition. So intuition is a strong theme for you, listening to what your guides are telling you. You're already a very intuitive sign. Now, what is it that you need to use in the future? This would be a past or current gift or mindset to play up in the future to help you achieve your goals. This is about being satisfied with some kind of offer, agreement, proposal. It could be being satisfied with offering your love, your creativity, your gifts to others, or receiving that. There's something that may have to do with putting you in the spotlight. You are trying to manifest something with your personal will. And if you're alone all the time, maybe, you're stuck in some kind of leaded consciousness. You're trying to manifest something in the material world, or you're trying to be totally self-sufficient. But it could be that you need to acknowledge the desire for physical or emotional connections. This is also about your self-expression, allowing yourself to shine, having the confidence to put yourself squarely in the center of things, offering your gifts, your talents, your creativity, and being satisfied with that. This is going to be a year where you somehow have the psychological intuition to know what the motivation is of others. Maybe you have your pulse, your hand on the pulse of the public. You know what to present, what to say. This is a time where you could be getting some kind of recognition. Whatever you want, your wishes, your desires easily manifest and are fulfilled. For some of you, you may have to decide again whether you want to close off to certain things, especially where self-indulgence is involved. Player behavior, eating too much, drinking too much, conning others. You may close yourself off to people who aren't completely honest, especially, when you try to tune in and recognize people and see them for who they are, or again, where you may be emotionally manipulative of others. This is also about closing off due to selfishness, being too smug and too confident, or becoming so oblivious and self-absorbed that you're not aware of the needs of others. So again, this is a year of balance, striking a balance between your need for independence, autonomy, the quiet time you may need to develop spiritually or work on a project, versus that emotional, physical connection to others. Now, your big lesson in 2020 is the Lover's card. So there are important choices to be made. You're making decisions. You're reevaluating your alliances. Are they suitable for you? You're having to be careful about who you connect yourself with. And again, you may be facing issues this year of temptation, sexuality, thoughts about love and marriage, partnerships, alliances in any capacity. So you're at a crossroad. You could also be very popular this year or dealing with the popularity of a partner. It could be you're involved in something where there's some outside interference weighing in on your situations or your connections to others. So there are important choices to be made where you're having to look at the paths that are before you. And this is a time where you're really going to have to look at where you are being disingenuous or dishonest or you're being greeted by that, maybe relying on your charm, your looks, your ability to manipulate emotionally, or you're dealing with someone like that. Now, for some of you, this may be a tie to a Gemini person. So you're having to make an important choice. And in that choice, you're going to have to not repress your emotions. You're going to have to acknowledge your emotions. It could mean you're going to have to get out of your head sometimes and, speak whatever your truth is. This is a time for you to be direct. You're also going to have to look at where your partnerships interfere with your primary goals. You may have people that are demanding of you, they want to be with you, connect to you, and yet, as pleasing as that is, it somehow interferes with the long-range goal. So there are choices to be made this year. Now, what is the question that you need to repeatedly ask all year in support of this lesson? Am I in my head or in my heart? So once again, we have a choice. That's reiterated with these two cards. The High Priestess is even though she's a very intuitive, receptive energy, steeped with emotion and intuition, she's also, in the negative, analytical. So this is, again, deep emotion over analyzing. Being logical about whether you want to offer your heart or what you want to give out or what you want to accept. So am I in my head or in my heart? And that's the question that you need to ask yourself in situations. So what is the quality of your self-talk? Our brain is like a muscle. If we condition it daily, the fears and limitations will take over. Mastering our thoughts is about being the creator of our own life. Where your head meets your heart is where miracles happen. So this is a year for your soul action to master your mind, whatever that means for you, whether that's doing something inspiring, getting lost in some kind of creativity, reading something empowering, still focusing and believing in your dreams. And also in support of that is fly solo. But what I really think this means is the combination with your lesson card. So all year long, you're having to make this choice. Go it alone or partner up with others. Am I in my head or am I in my heart? Do I want to be alone or do I want to connect? Now your advice card is... My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. And you have the curse. Now that's an interesting card. I don't know if you noticed, but look at this handprint over this person's mouth. And so there could be issues this year about the unspeakable. Maybe something you're repressing. Maybe secrets that need to come out and be spoken. Maybe things that shouldn't be said. Let's look at what the curse is all about. So the curse refers to the limiting stories of our ancestors and the karma from former lifetimes that preordains the events of our lives. It is the source of negative patterns, and it can show up as a disease, a destructive force, or a blockage on our creative energy. The curse holds us hostage to a false story that we confuse for reality. Recognizing the original wound that is playing out in our life can heal it. It is time to recognize the source of your limitations. Did your grandparents live with the mindset of scarcity? Did you inherit genes for heart disease? Were you a slave or a master in a past life? This karmic legacy is ready and waiting to be seen, to be untangled, and to be released. Honor the players and their stories. Forgive everyone and everything. Craft a new life for yourself. Well, that's really powerful. Again, you have issues that may connect to father figures, daughters, friends, mother, maternal instincts. Whether somebody has been closed off emotionally, or connecting, or being smothering, loving too much, not loving enough, accusations that are being made, desires to emotionally manipulate, things that affect your creativity, whether you're trying to produce or manifest all by yourself or whether you are getting help from others. So it may be time to release your past, your history, karmic connections, karmic situations, to resolve that and create a new life in 2020. Once again, the underlying energy is this Two of Pentacles. So choice, options, decisions. This could be a year where you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster, especially when you're looking at whether you have or don't have something. It could be a year where you have a lot of responsibilities, where you're juggling your time. And maybe you feel like, you got to keep a lot of balls in the air. Could also be an opportunity where you're looking at opportunities, double opportunities. Maybe you're juggling between two partners, two lovers, a job offer. You're looking at resources and you're trying to make decisions that are best for you. So you're trying to skillfully navigate the waters this year. And there could be ups and downs in your fortune. You're doing a lot of thinking. Could be you're getting together with others, getting some advice, going over something, contemplating, going within. There's a need for you to be flexible. Maybe you're spreading yourself too thin financially, emotionally. It could be you're involved in something creative where there's an exchange between you and others, goods and services. So maybe you're going to change your job, you're going to change your environment. Change is the key word. Flexibility, adapting, movement. Negatively, this could be a year where you feel overwhelmed. Maybe something just seems too complex, especially when emotions or family situations or old karmic circumstances come up again. Maybe you're having to look at where you've been inflexible. If this is about resources, maybe you're not putting in enough effort, or there's some resources that have been squandered or mishandled. You may feel overwhelmed to the point where you can't hold it together. Maybe, again, you're taking on more than you're capable of dealing with. You could also be involved with somebody who is a restrictive force in your life, somebody that's holding on to things that belong to both of you. They're holding on to joint resources. Maybe you're having to deal with red tape. So this is about, again, manipulating a situation so that you come out on top, making choices that are best for you, learning to ride the waves and stay afloat. All right, Pisces, I hope this is a fantastic year for you. I'm wishing you the best. Happy New Year in 2020.